In the beginning, there was a guy named Esoteric. He was on a mission to make his own CSGO cheat and compete with the top dogs at the time, Aimware and Interwebs. First, he needed a cool name for the cheat though. After going through a series of awful names, he eventually settled with Skeet, which, is not a very good name if you know what it means in slang. So the cheat started off as public, and at the time everyone was desperate to try any cheat because Aimware couldn't stop getting detected. So people tried Skeet, and it sucked. Like, really bad. Kubrick, who was friends with all the Aimware devs, bought a Skeet sub and tried it out, and it was lacking, to say the least. But she could see it had potential. As more people bought Skeet, Esso quickly realized that he wouldn't be able to moderate his cheat by himself, and so he made the cheat private and made Tea Time, Evaster, and Kubrick moderators. All of them were just people who randomly bought the cheat and later became friends with Esoteric. Evaster would do a pretty good job advertising Skeet, since he was actually a really good HVHer. He would spend 20 hours a day on no-spread servers. Kubrick would become the person who would help Esso the most overall and manage the back end of Skeet. Tea Time would remain the only professional one and try to help out users and provide suggestions and feedback to Esso. While Skeet was definitely not good at this point, not to mention it had already gotten detected, Esoteric had ambition. Esso would start pasting from Aimware dumps and from unknown cheats. Despite this, Esso would soon surpass all the other cheats. In 2017, Skeet became the top cheat by far. It was in a league of its own. Everyone was desperate for Skeet, and everyone wanted it. The cheat at the time had about 300 users. Evaster would start what would be the long tradition of Skeet staff selling invites and scamming people. Evaster would sell invites to people, and then ban them afterwards for buying an invite. Kubrick was busy inviting anyone who sent her thigh pics, and said they were a girl. And Tea Time was the actual somewhat good moderator. Since Skeet only accepted credit card payments, resellers would become a thing and resell Skeet subs so people could buy with PayPal or whatever. Wish would become a trusted reseller, and at the time, Wish was actually a nice person. He genuinely seemed like he just wanted to help people. Over the years, Skeet would have its rivalries with several cheats, such as Interwebs, Aimware, Styles, Mutiny, and Zeus for a long time. Every cheat wanted to compete with Skeet. If you had a cheat capable of going toe-to-toe with Skeet, or even beating it, then your profits were about to be very high. Skeet was the best cheat, but it remained invite only, so everyone would just flock to the next best thing. Aside from just being dominant in HVH, Skeet had a lot of original features, such as the clown champs, which sadly were later on removed. Skeet had a PUBG cheat for a while, then it was detected and later abandoned. Esso decided he wanted to rebrand skeet.cc to gamesense.pub. That tag became the most sought out tag in the game. Every single paste would try to copy the gamesense tag, so they could pretend they were using it. Interwebs would have one of its staff members, Dev, create his own cheat, which after asking forum members for name suggestions, he would call Supremacy. The cheat would be slotted, so only 50 people could buy and use the cheat. And the monthly sub would cost $50, first come, first serve. So naturally, this cheat must have been amazing, right? Well, yes, but no. Cheat was pasted from Skeet dumps and cracked by Esoteric not even a day after it was released. Esso didn't like people pasting from his cheat and selling it, which is pretty ironic. In mid-2018, Skeet would have its first invite wave ever. The user base was just under 900. Everyone that had an active sub was given an invite, even if they just registered the day before. This brought the users from 900 to around 1400. Skeet was still insanely good, although it was lacking in the true semi-rage scene. But that's another story. The so-called prestige that came with Skeet was gone by this point though. Luas were then introduced. This was Esso's way of letting people add all the dumb useless features people were requesting, as well as him taking a backseat since by this time, it was clear he had lost nearly all his interest in Skeet and CSGO. Now people could add very useful features such as chat spam, or custom clan tags. Skeet Rust would become an option for some people who bought 5-year subs and were approved, but it would eventually get detected and then later abandoned. Which is funny since a lot of people bought 5-year subs for Skeet Rust only for it to get abandoned a few months later. Only a few months after the first wave, another invite wave would happen. This would bring the user base from around 1,500 to about 2,400. If there was anyone still delusional enough to think owning Skeet made them a big namer at this point, they were long past the point of no return. Since all the former moderators had all quit CSGO and moved on with their lives, Esso needed new staff. We already know he had poor judgment before with who he made moderators. So, Esso made the mistake that would lead Skeet to its demise. He promoted Wish to moderator and then later admin. But Wish was a nice guy, right? Maybe he was, but once he got that taste of power and money, he would make the biggest heel turn since Anakin becoming Darth Vader. Even though the old moderators weren't great either, since they were all either corrupt or incompetent, they were at the very least lazy. All of them failed to see the power they truly had. They were in control of a product that thousands of people were desperate to obtain. Wish knew this though. He knew he was sitting on a gold mine, and he knew just how to exploit it. With Wish as the new emperor, Skeet's user base was about to increase at a rate that people never saw coming. Wish needed some lackeys though, to keep people interested and to deal with the peasants. He recruited Sigma to handle Discord support, and NM Chris to handle Lewis support. And now all Wish had to worry about was how he was going to make money. He knew invite waves were actually counterproductive, so those had to go. The only person that would have power to invite people was him. Wish would sell invites like crazy, having multiple people resell for him. Normal invites were $400. If they thought you were an even bigger sucker or truly desperate, they would charge you more, sometimes up to $600. Wish sold invites to the Chinese for around $5,000 an invite. To the rich Chinese cheaters, this was nothing to them. They would regularly cheat with $100,000 inventories. Although selling invites wasn't the only way Wish was making money, Wish would also start selling bans and unbans, and even banned accounts. If you were banned from Skeet for whatever reason, you pay Wish and he would unban you. If you wanted someone else banned from Skeet, you pay Wish and he would ban them. If you wanted a name or a lower UID of someone that was already banned, he would unban that account and then sell it to you. I know this because my first banned Skeet account was actually sold to someone else. I'm not sure if he would sell a name if that person wasn't banned, but probably. If you called Wish out on invite selling, you'd get banned for undermining. If you did anything Wish disliked, he would ban you. Wish was fully in control, and he had a very fragile ego. But what about Esoteric? Well, he was fine with everything. Wish would split the money he got from selling invites with Eso, or at least a part of it. In 2021, Skeet, the cheat that most considered uncrackable, was cracked. Neverlose staff would crack it, but instead of making it public, they decided they would sell it themselves. And that truly was the smarter decision for them, since they made a fortune from it. They created the site gamesense.pub and resold Skeet for $50 a sub. All the people who were desperate to finally own Skeet flocked to it, and their dream had come true. They finally owned Skeet. Kinda. This also resulted in Wish banning a lot of Russians from Skeet. Wish would beg Eso to come out of the grave to handle this, because people weren't buying invites for $400 when they could instead pay $50 for the same cheat. Which, funnily enough, the crack would actually get updated unlike real Skeet. A CSGO update made cheats crash if you used Glow. Of course, this was a 10-minute fix, which the Neverlose staff updated the crack the same day, literally. Meanwhile, Skeet would go months crashing with this issue. So, Eso then came back, cracked Neverlose, and threatened to leak the entire thing. So they took the gamesense.pub site down, and faked an FBI seize for some reason, and compensated the people who bought subs with Neverlose subscriptions. So things would return to normal, and Wish could go back to selling invites for a broken buggy cheat. Keep in mind, Esso came back to crack Never Lose, but didn't fix Skeet's glow crash issue. In around mid-2022, Skeet would finally get detected. Almost everyone that had injected Skeet in the last 2 months prior had gotten red trust and then banned later on. Skeet was no longer the top dog in H3H anymore. It was average at best. Never Lose was better. The one thing Skeet had going for itself was that it was safe to use on main, and that was now gone. Wish would of course deny Skeet was detected at all and damage control hard. Esso would supposedly come back under a new Discord account and claim to have fixed the issue. Of course, what actually happened was they bought the red trust bypass from Anuria. Sigma was seen in multiple Discords asking people how to get into contact with the Anuria devs. But why would they need to do all that if Esso had come back? That's the thing, I don't think Esso came back. I think Esso has been inactive for years. Wish has full access to everything, and he posts under the admin account. He made it especially obvious on this post. Even Sigma has full access. There also may be others who are secret moderators or admins without it showing up. Kubrick's account is banned, but their alt demo user isn't. I believe Wish and Sigma created a new esoteric Discord account to fool people into thinking he was back. The other option is Esso did come back, but he was so clueless and ignorant to everything since he hadn't even played CSGO for years. He didn't even know what trust factor was in 2022. The truth is though, whether Esso is back or not, Skeet is in such a pathetic sorry state now. It's embarrassing. From the best cheat out there to arguably the worst private cheat out there, how the mighty have truly fallen.